Please welcome Bert.
All right, can you hear me in the back? All right, I must say, this is really happening. I must be honest, I'm very, very nervous for this. This is my first time speaking, so please be kind. Thank you. All right, so helping out frustrated Bob. I'm here to tell you a little story. And yeah, it's actually based on a true story. So in every true story, I change the names, the locations, and everything for privacy of the client. And it's a story about Bob. And I've been getting a lot of questions. Yeah, who is that Bob guy over on Twitter? Well, are you ready to meet Bob? Yes. All right, this is Bob. Just a normal guy. But Bob is a manager. And well, his task is to assign other tasks to his coworkers. And he does a following up of those tasks. And afterwards, he does the reviews of those tasks as well. In the end, he does the reporting towards the clients with the bills, of course, of the hours that are being spent for that tasks. But as you can see, Bob is not happy. He has a lot of frustration. And, well, we can fix that, and I will show you that in a bit, where we fixed a few little things with some easy things that we implemented in his project. But by the way, I am Bert, actually Bert, but my name is Bert on the internet, and I'm a founder developer at Vulpo, and there's a digital studio based in Wetteren in Belgium, and we mainly do custom stuff, mainly use Laravel for that, and we do a lot of white label work as well. We help other dev teams as well with their projects to help them build their web projects with confidence. So if you ever need any assistance, give me a call, give me a tweet, or just bump into me. And I also have this thing called the YouTube channel. And for you guys, very important is that little button over there. So if you would be kind to just press that. Thank you. All right. I also love to be offline. And being offline, I play a lot of dog frisbee with my dog, so you can spot me in a park or whatever, but she's retired now, so we're taking it easy. And I also compete in triathlons, so I love to push myself to the limit. And I love to spend a lot of time with these guys, my two kids and my lovely wife. And by the way, her name is Caroline, and she's doing an amazing job as a mother, and it's because of her that I can do what I do. I can travel the world, see conferences, also compete in triathlons thanks to her. And I want to take the opportunity here to thank her for that. So where I live, we normally in Dutch we say dank u wel for thank you. But in Ghent we say a lot of merci, which is the French word for thank you. And her name is Caroline. And well, you can split that in Car-o-leen or a car-o-leen. And I want to ask your assistance for this one. We're going to say merci Caroline in you could repeat it on the count of 3, right? So 1, 2, 3. All right, great. Well, what I want to do, I want to record that and send that to her. Is that fine for you guys? All right. Whew. All right. Okay, are you guys ready? Yes. 1, 2, 3. All right. Okay. I hope she loves that. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about helping out frustrated Bob. Well, Bob had a web application which grew over time. And eventually, like every application that grows over time, it became a real mess. And eventually, it all went to bits and pieces, and the thing just crashed. We wrote the whole thing in Laravel and Livewire, and that's basically the end of the talk, but thanks, bye. No, just kidding. I created a little demo app to show you a few things that we did. I'm just going to switch back to the laptop here to show what we did. So I have, if you can see my screen, great. I'm just going to refresh here. All right, so Bob at Bob's company. A lot of eyes on me, and typing is not working. And a very secure password of password. All right, so I recreated this little demo application. We have a list of tasks, we have a detail page, we have a dashboard overview, so you can just get the feel of what this there we go, of what this application does. All right, but after a few months after the rebuild, we received an email saying, hey, the pages are taking some time to load, it's also flickering, like there's a page in between. There are two things here we need to fix, the loading time and the flickering. And, well, we did some measuring, and we found out that the client actually had a lot more users, being a lot more data, and a lot more problems. Like Biggie would have said, a lot more data, a lot more problems. All right, so we introduced Livewire Navigate, which is giving the spa feeling to the client. And I'm not talking about these kind of spa, but I'm talking about an SPA, which is the single page application. I know what I did there with the animation. The A should have been in front, not in the middle, but okay. All right, cool, but how does that actually work? Well, Livewire basically is going to prevent the browser to visit the new page. It will request it in the background and will replace the body, title, and URL along with the fly. All right, but there's more. We are actually having a prefetch of that page during the click. So whenever you start clicking, it's already prefetching. By the time you release your click, the page is already there. And we can also do that on hover. And in our case, we did that. So we're actually having the user hover the link, and when it's already requested in the background by doing so, and when the user decides to click the link, it's instantly replaced. Well, let's do the thing. Okay, so I have the code over here, and I want to do this in the navigation, whoops, that's not right, in the navigation blade, and this will work because I have Livewire components. Whoa, this is too small for you guys, right? Let's do this. All right. So because we have Livewire components on the page, we have the Alpine thingy loaded as well, and we are able to do here like wire navigate.hover, and I want to do this not only here, but also here. That's not the right one. Sorry. There we go, and I need to do this wherever I have a nav link, so I also need to put it in here and in here. And you already saw the task list. I also want that to be happening on the list links as well. So we're opening up the task list, and in here I have an href somewhere. Here we go. All right, let's actually see how that looks. Let's open up the DevTools here and the network tab, and I also have the fetch XHR already ready for us. So whenever I will hover, you see it's already loaded, and if I decide to click, it's instantly replaced. Also the same thing with the task titles, the task links. They're already loaded in, and if I decide to click, it's instantly replaced. Well, I think that is kind of cool. Well, we fixed the flickering thing. We gave the spa feeling towards our client. And we had some smooth transitions, no more pages in between. But we received another email just a few weeks after. Hey, we should be able to search the content of the description and maybe the assigned colleague as well. So we need to do the things he requests. We need to update the search scope. And we have Eloquent, of course, so Eloquent to the rescue. We have some amazing things in there. So let's dive in again. This is really nerve-wracking. Okay, let's close this up. And we're in, let me see, which one is it? Task model. All right, so I have a relation assignee, which belongs to a user, and I have the search scope where and things like that. I could actually just write another or where in there, and that'd be the end of it. But we have, of course, Eloquent, and since Laravel 11, I just did this in a tiny little snippet because I don't like typing in front of you guys. So since Laravel 11, we have the opportunity to use the where any, which takes in an array of all the things we need to search on, like the value. And there's another thing
instead of having a where has relation and a query in there, we could just easily do or where relation assignee name like the value we're looking for. And I need to add a semicolon at the end, and let's test that out, right? So let's head over to Google Chrome here, and for example, I want to search Bob. The only task Bob is doing, we can search the assignee. If I remove this again, and I want to, like, this sentence over here, query the sentence, I get that single task that we're looking for. Cool. Let's head back to the slides. All right. Cool. So we use the where any, which is kind of a cool function in Eloquent, in my opinion. We use the where relation, and this one is one of my favorites, to be honest. And we improved the developer experience, which will benefit in the long run for the client as well, because code is breathing, code is more readable, so we're implementing things faster. But of course, the client sends us another email. And this is a boatload of text, but I have a summarization for that. So they're losing a lot of time. They need to refresh the pages to see the current situation of tasks. And also, one employee didn't notice she had a task, or he had a task, I don't want to tell anyone, until she or he refreshed the page, which kind of is a cache burner. All right, so let's actually fix that with polling. All right, cool, very cool. But how does that work? Imagine you have a server and a client. Well, the client will send a request out to the server, hey, do you have an update for me? Server will check the database and eventually respond with 99% of the time, nope, I have nothing for you. And that goes on and on again until one time the database is updated and the response of the request is, hey, yes, I have an update, here is the update. And that happens by default in Livewire every 2.5 seconds. Let's quickly implement that. All right. So in every page that we have data that we want to refresh every now and then, we can write wire poll, and I want it every 10 seconds because 2.5 is just too fast to demo this. All right, so this is the task list. I also have the dashboard, the dashboard component view, and in here, and I also want it for the employee because I have 2 role sets here. Not here, there we go. And if I now refresh here, get rid of this, put it on the side, and open a new window right there, and I have another colleague, of course, Jess, at bobscompany.com with a very, very secure password of password. And that was wrong, all right. I can't even type passwords. Okay, so whenever, let me quickly refresh this because, you know, all right, so a task to Jess is assigned, and if I change the state to doing, well, we can wait up until 10 seconds, and normally it should be getting in right there, all right, it changed. Well, that was it. That was as easy as updating wire poll to our pages, of course. But very easy, right? But it's very resource intensive. Imagine you have more than 100 users pulling the backend every 2.5 seconds. Well, that could be disastrous. And in Bob's company, he had more than 150 users, not concurrent users, but just imagine they're polling constantly. We can do better. All right. What if we could update or send an update only if there is an update to our tasks? Well, I know what you're thinking. Reverb. All right. Cool. Reverb is one of the coolest things in Laravel, in my opinion, because it is implemented with WebSockets. And WebSockets is, well, I use WebSockets for the last decade in IoT devices that I do. So how does that work, right? We need to install Reverb, which in our project is already done. We need to install Echo, we need to do some configuration, and then we need to run a socket server. Luckily for us, the most work is running this little command, PHP artisan install broadcasting. This will install Echo for us and do the configuration for us. All right, but how does that work in the end? Imagine, again, server, client, client requests a server with a handshake negotiation, the backend will process that and respond with OK or no OK whenever it suits the negotiation that was requested. And eventually, the HTTP request gets upgraded to a WebSocket. So let's recap that. So the request from the client with a handshake negotiation, the server will respond, and eventually the HTTP request gets upgraded to a WebSocket. And from that point on, we can communicate in both directions without any single HTTP request in between. I think that is pretty cool. All right, let's do that. And this is the most stressful part, so please be kind. OK, let's first of all get rid of all the things we've done until now, because the polling will interfere with everything we want to do here. Let's close that up. And I have warp over here. And it's already suggesting, because it knows what I'm doing, PHP Artisan install broadcasting. And I have internet, so yes, I want to install the node dependencies as well, otherwise this little thing won't work. OK, it's already suggesting that I would make an event, because I already did this pre-run like a million times. PHP Artisan make event, test task event. All right, let's create that. That creates an event in the app events directory for us. So let's get back to the VS Code. And let's open up that task event. OK, great. Now, we want this task event to be broadcasted. So we need to actually implement broadcasting as well. So implements should broadcast, but for now, I'm going to use broadcast now because I don't want to set up queues. This would take us way too far for this demonstration. And I also want not a private channel, but just a regular, whoops, there we go, a regular channel. And let's name it LARACON. All right, let's save that. Cool. So whenever something changes in our application to one of those tasks, I want to broadcast this event. So we need to dispatch this event on every action we do with a task. But it's easily forgotten to adjust one little detail. So we need to do that in create, update, and assign, and whatever. But I only want to do that in the task model itself. And in here, what I like to do, I have a snippet for that, because otherwise I would be doing some crazy stuff. All right, let's import that as well. OK, that's normal. There we go. So what I'm doing here, I'm hooking in the protected static function booted, and every time a task is created, assigned, so updated, eventually that is a saved action, because it's saved to the database. Whenever that happens, I'm hooking into that, and I'm dispatching on the saved static event that is normal in Laravel. All right, so we're now dispatching. We still need to listen for it. Let's open up the, not here, the dashboard component. In the dashboard component, and I also have this in the snippet. Thank you, Freek, for telling me how to do this. There we go. And I also need to import the on attribute. All right, so we have a public function, listen for event, which is telling this dispatch towards the front end, hey, you need to refresh this little component here. And we're doing that using an on attribute of Livewire on the, with echo on the Laracon channel for a test event. I'm just going to quickly show you how you can mess this up. If you do this with a capital E, it won't work. If you put a space in between, also won't work. That ruined like 2 days of my life. All right. OK, so I'm not only doing this in the component, but I'm also doing this in the task list component. There we go. The same one, the snippet number 4, and I need to import the on attribute. There we go. And all there's left is start the reverb server, and I hope, please pray with me. Mr. Joe Dixon, pray with me, thank you. I'm going to refresh here and refresh here, so I am clearly on the new connection with reverb WebSockets in there, and if I now assign this to doing, it's instantly broadcasted and refreshed on the other end. Whew, that worked great. Let's head back to the slides. So WebSockets are very, very powerful, and I love working with them. And at Vulpo, we tend to use them quite often nowadays. So yeah, but I know this example, we could optimize further using private channels and only dispatch towards those users that are impacted by the change of their tasks and not all the tasks. But yeah, but eventually we went from sad Bob to happy Bob. And I know what you're thinking. He did not even get older, but, well, Dolly took my money. I'm very sorry about that. But what I'm trying to say here with this talk is we have so many amazing things out there. We have all those awesome, eloquent stuff. We have Reverb. We have things like Filament PHP. We have Splade. We have everything out there. Just use it and build awesome stuff with it. So yeah, before I leave you, I see you have a little time on the clock. I'm from a city called Ghent. And who does know Ghent? All right, great. We have the Gentse Feesten, which is like a street festival for 10 days, and I kid you not, we have people starting the first day, coming back home on the 10th, which is kind of brutal. But we also have this thing, Devs Ghent. It's actually a meetup group that I'm hosting together with a guy called Freek van der Herten. You might know him. And together with Elian, we are organizing every 2 months on the last Wednesday of the month. We have beer, pizza, speakers, and if you ever are in Ghent, be sure to attend or even speak. We're always looking for speakers. And by the end of this talk, I still have this thing. That button is still over there. I even made it easier for you guys. I put it in a little QR code, which takes you directly to the channel. And thank you so much.
Now it's all on. Great talk, buddy.
Thanks.
I get questions.
Questions?
Ooh. Yeah. So Vlad is asking, what was the biggest challenge so far using Reverb?
Getting it running in a Plesk environment.
And what?
In a Plesk environment. So we ended up using Forge because it wasn't running elsewhere. So,
was it easier?
Yeah, just to click on a button. So yeah, Forge. Thank you.
Woohoo. So the anonymous user
that one
is asking, what was the biggest triathlon that you ever had?
Oh, the biggest, I only do half distance.
The most challenging.
Yeah, the half distances. The most challenging one, they're all challenging in one way, but the most brutal one was Gerardsbergen, which is, not a flat one, but a hilly part. And we had to climb a lot and run also uphill. So that was really...
It hurt.
It hurt, yeah.
Thank you once again. Big applause for Bert.